Hello, dear fans, friends, and subscribers. Welcome to the daily cricket show, Cricket Happenings. And on this part of the cricket show, it's going to be the final day of the Ashes Test, where one has to say that it was some real stonewalling by the pair of Stephen Smith, the captain, who went on to a record 6 centuries in a calendar year, which has been done multiple times by Ricky Ponting of Australia. And now Stephen Smith has joined Ricky Ponting as to become the second person to have hit 6 centuries in a calendar year. But it was real stonewalling stuff as the England were reduced, the Australians were reduced to 178 for 4, and after that it really required someone to stonewall, and that was done by the skipper Stephen Smith, who finished with an unbeaten 102 with 6 fours, and Mitchell Marsh really showing a lot of composure and also showing what a matured cricketer he's turning out to be. Cutting out his extravagant strokes that he normally likes to play. Predominantly, as you know, he have that aggressive intent in him, but Mitchell Marsh curbed it totally and ground out an innings of an unbeaten 29, and which was very, very useful because, as you know, there was not much of batting to come after that, and Mitchell Marsh really stuck there and grounded out a fine innings of an unbeaten 29 with 3 fours. Probably one would have not seen much importance in it, but let me tell you, that is the most important innings because you needed someone to stick at the other end, and Mitchell Marsh was the one who did a splendid job, I thought. So, just talking about this game, they resumed at the overnight score 104 for 2, and it did not take a long time for the. Definitely there was a partnership which started, which added 68 runs to the good, at least took them past the 164 lead. So they were essentially 8 runs on, and David Warner was continued to play in that self-restrained manner of his. Stephen Smith also did the same, and nobody was interested in getting any boundaries. It was all about staying at the wicket. The mantra was to stay at the wicket, and that's what they're precisely doing, waiting for any loose opportunity to score off. As that was going on, it was David Warner wicket, which was a bit of a given, I would say, and a bit of a sort of a giveaway wicket. One did not know what was the reason. Well, Warner was really batting with self-restraint on 86 with 8 fours, and it was only 14 runs, to get to his century, the coveted landmark. And unfortunately, Joe Root had tried a few things. He had actually got all the bowlers into action. In fact, he had David Mallon bowling. I thought he bowled a good line, David Mallon, Moeen Ali. Every bowler was tried, but no one was able to dislodge this particular pair. And then it forced the skipper Joe Root to get himself into the firing line. And with his very first over, he struck with a second delivery as Warner got a ball which he tried to actually give it a. So the ball is a bit short, so he tried to actually pull it from outside the off stump. But in the process, what he did was he actually skied it in the air, and James Wins took a good catch. So David Warner was gone. Caught Wins bowled Root for 86 with 8 boundaries. Made score 172 for 3, and with only 6 runs added, Sean Marsh was a victim of the bowling of Broad as Marsh nicked one into the hands of Barristow for 4. That really left the Australians in a bit of a real bother, I would say, at 178 for 4, with only 14 runs ahead. And it was Mitchell Marsh, his brother, coming out there to join Stephen Smith. Stephen Smith at the other end was not in any sort of trouble. He was playing the ball on its merit, and as I said, he was not taking any risks whatsoever. He was presenting the full blade of the bat to the bowlers, which is good to see. And Mitchell Marsh came in and really was tested a few times, but then Mitchell Marsh clung on, and then the partnership 178 for 4. There was still 45 overs to go, and it was anybody's. One knew that anything could have happened, but it was Mitchell Marsh, as I said, was an ideal innings and an innings of real value there, because what it did is, if just imagine if and this partnership, what it did, it provided, definitely didn't provide any sort of entertainment to the spectators, and it needn't be as well, currently with the situation that the Aussies were into. And it was an 85 runs partnership which was grounded out by the skipper Stephen Smith along with Mitchell Marsh. And Mitchell Marsh would have made his father, a former player Jeff Marsh, the opener, very, very proud, because Mitchell Marsh definitely, as I said, one would remember the opening pair, the former opening pair, the successful opening pair at that, of David Boone and Jeff Marsh once upon a time. And Jeff Marsh was a real, David Boone was an aggressor, but Jeff Marsh was the one who was playing second fiddle. So that's what Mitchell Marsh did. Would have really made his father very proud today with a very important innings. And in the context of things, Mitchell Marsh did a fine job. And Mitchell Marsh, I'm sure the Australian selectors know what sort of value this holds, and they know that they can actually depend on Mitchell Marsh to deliver the goods as and when a crisis time approaches for Australia. And that's what Mitchell Marsh precisely showed, offering some impregnable defense to carve out an unbeaten 29 with 3 boundaries. And Stephen Smith getting his 3rd century of his Ashes series, and also, as I said, going on to a superb record of joining Ricky Ponting as the only player to have scored 6 centuries in a calendar year. And Stephen Smith has also finished off the year 2017 on a great high, as he has amassed the maximum number of runs by a batsman in the year 2017, and would be a strong contender to me for the ICC Cricketer of the Year award. Well, 263 for 4 was what Australia finished up with, and as soon as Stephen Smith got to his century, the play was called off. Anderson, but one thing I have to tell you, that the man of the match was Alistair Cook. There was no doubt about it, for his wonderful knock, and also the other thing that one would really notice here is that if you had actually looked at my previews, I definitely said it at the end of the 3rd test match. It was all about Alistair Cook, Joe Root and Moeen Ali coming to the party. In fact, Alistair Cook, the former England captain, coming to the party in a big manner. And I said I would attribute this draw to Alistair Cook of England, because without his innings, which was carrying the bat through the innings with the maximum number of runs scored by any batsman in Test cricket, which was a proud record that he would hold for quite a long time to me. And it was good to see that Alistair Cook really strode on beautifully. And I have to say one thing, that probably after the 3rd test, one would have thought that whether England would avoid the clean sweep. It was totally quashed by the knock of Alistair Cook. And also I thought the Santa Claus on Christmas, after Christmas, has brought glad tidings for the England team, and England will be very, very relieved that now they have definitely done a good turn for themselves by forcing the Aussies on the back foot here in the 4th test match. But the scoreline in the Ashes series, still the Aussies are the winners. They are 3-0 up, and then in the new year it would be at the final test of the Ashes series coming up at the SCG, where I'm sure this England team would be walking with more confidence and renewed vigor, and that is as far as this particular game is concerned. Now, Anderson, 30 overs, 12 minutes, 1 for 46, 1 for 44 for Broad, 1 for 62 for Chris Stokes, 1 for 1 for Joe Root. Tim Curran, Moeen Ali and David Mallon also trundled a bit, but nothing really coming their way. Well, dear fan subscribers, so this is as far as the 5th day's play, or the final day's play in the Ashes Test Series. And also, I would say this was the final day of cricket being played in the year 2017 as far as international cricket is concerned. And as you know, there's just one day to go for the year 2017 to end. and I'm sure Australia had a mixed bag as far as 2017. And I will try to come to you, dear fans and subscribers, tomorrow. That's in the year, the last day in 2017 with my cricket happenings, where I will try to recount, looking at some teams, and let's see what really 2017 really brought to international cricket as a whole. We'll have a look at it, provided I really find some time on the New Year's Eve. Well, dear fans, friends and subscribers, always a pleasure describing the cricket happenings on this particular show, with all your tremendous cooperation enlisted at all times. And well, dear fans, it's about time for me to actually sign off on this show by promising you, or not promising you, but definitely telling you that keep an eye on cricket happenings on the final day. It is on 31st of December 2017. You might be looking, I might be previewing the year 2017 in international cricket. Thanks for your company and thanks for your support as always. This is your host Ram signing off finally for the day. Thank you.